Hi, am I audible? Can everyone just confirm whether I'm audible and visible? So, okay, now let us start with our today's session. And before we start the session, there is one small announcement over here that you all know that we already have our prelims test series that has been going on since November 6, 2022. Now it is very essential for all of you to attend these tests because there is just 4 months for your prelims exam. So it is very necessary that you gear up regarding your preparation and start giving all these tests. So let us now move on to the various topics that will be covered in this particular session. So first we have the session on cancer in India, a status report. Then we have rare earth metals. Now there has been a very big discovery of these metals in Sweden. We'll study what is the significance of this discovery. Then we have the 17th annual State of Education report. We have the cloud forests. What are they and why are they in news? We have Jallikattu and other traditional animal related sports of India. We have earthquake resistant construction. Now this topic has been taken from December 22 edition of Yojana. And finally, we have the news on Hockey World Cup, which India is hosting this year. So we'll start with our first topic. Cancer in India, a status report. Now, what is the context related to this topic? Now, there has been a report on cancer statistics in American Cancer Society's journal, and this report said that there has been a reduction, one third, that is 33% reduction in cancer cases in 3 decades in United States. That is from 1991 to 2021, there has been a reduction of 33% in cancer related deaths. What about India? In India, however, there has been an increase in cancer incidence. That is, the number of cases of cancer in India, they have been perpetually increasing over the years. You can see the data over here that compared to 2020, there has been an increase in the cancer related incidence or cancer cases in the country. And up to 2025, this will further increase. Moreover, the deaths related to cancer are also predicted to increase in the upcoming years. When we talk about cancer incidence in males compared to females, in males, 94 out of 1 lakh of males, they are susceptible to getting cancer. Whereas it is higher, almost 9 points higher in case of females. Now, what are the common sites? For men, it is lungs, mouth, prostate, tongue, and stomach cancer. While in females, it is breast, cervix, ovary, uterus, and lung cancers. Just a second. Is the voice fine? Can everyone just confirm it? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So what exactly is cancer? What do you understand by that? So cancer is nothing but uncontrollable growth of cells in the body. Now what happens? Usually, normally what happens, whenever the body requires new cells, they divide and new cells are formed. Okay. However, what happens in cancer? The diseased or improper cells which are not properly created, not properly developed, they start to divide in an uncontrolled manner. So what happens? They form tumors. They form some tissues which are known as tumors. Now these tumors can be benign or they can be malignant. Now what happens? The benign tumors, they do not cause cancer. However, the malignant tumors, they are cancerous in nature. Now what happens? They keep on dividing and then they start getting transferred to different parts of body. For example, the tumor started in lung. However, it was not properly detected. So now the tumor, it will start spreading in the other parts of the body. Now, another characteristic of these tumors is that they can be evaded. That is, they evade from the white blood cells. The white blood cells, they are not able to identify these cells. And then what happens? They do not act upon them. They do not die. So they keep on multiplying and they spread in the body. Now, what are the causes of the cancers? Now, many people think that cancer is just a genetic disease. That is, if someone in your family had cancer, you are more susceptible to it. That is true. However, there are many outside factors also that can cause cancer, like UV radiation that can cause skin-related cancers, and that is why ozone layer is so important for us. Many chemicals, when consumed, when inhaled, they can also cause cancer. We have viruses that are also known for causing cancers. Most popular one or the most common one is called HPV, human papilloma virus. So this HPV virus, it causes STDs or sexually transmitted diseases, and it is also known to cause cancers like cervical cancer, even oral cancers. Smoking, many of you must know that smoking is also a very big cause of cancer, especially related to mouth and lungs. Cell, when they start dividing uncontrollably due to certain genetic diseases, then that can also cause cancer. Now what happens when this thing, that is improper cell division, it happens in the body? Initially, when you're a child, it happens only in certain locations. However, over the years, these cells, these improper cells, they start accumulating in your body. And what happens? By the time you reach old age, the concentration is so high that they can now cause cancer. So that is why in old age, cancer is more common. Okay, I'll make the pen thinner to make it more readable. Yes, Santosh, there is vaccine available for cancer. We'll study about that in the upcoming slides. So there can be many reasons for cancers, Shambhavi. It is not necessary that only toxic products can cause cancer. As we have studied, even sunlight can cause cancer, UV radiations can cause cancer, or you can have it in your body in a hereditary manner. That is, if any part of your family has the cancer, then you can also get it. Now, what do the statistics say? By the year 2040, it is expected that globally, compared to the 2020 levels, there will be a 47% increase in cancer cases. Now, this is a very disturbing news. When it comes to India, according to the 2020 data, cancer is the second leading cause of death in India. The first leading cause is cardiac diseases. And the most frequently diagnosed cancer in the country is breast cancer. Initially, it used to be lung cancer, but recently, breast cancer has replaced it. The leading cause of death in India due to cancer is lung cancer, and almost 18% of the total cancer-related deaths in the country are caused due to lung cancer. Why? Because lung cancer usually it is detected at last stages, because the person, he keeps on living a very normal life, and only when they start feeling problems and they go for screening, it is by the time that cancer has spread to a large part of his body. Now, what does cardiac diseases, Mareem, is any disease related to the heart. Okay. So ICMR data, it says that 1 out of 9 Indians, they will develop cancer in their entire lifetime. So that is a very high number. Also, cancer in women, it is more common according to the statistics. First leading disease, Mahindran, is cardiac diseases or diseases related to the heart. ICMR is Indian Council of Medical Research. So what have been the changes over the years in India? The cervical cancer or cancer of the cervix, it has reduced. Now, what are the reasons for its reduction? It is late marriages, lesser number of children, and better hygiene. Now, apart from that, one biggest reason why this incidence and how this is being prevented is due to the HPV vaccines. HPV, human papilloma virus. Okay. So, according to the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, so they gave a suggestion to the center, and center asked the state to consider including the HPV vaccines in the universal immunization program of the country. This was done in December 2022. So also tobacco-related cancer cases, they have also come down, and this is primarily due to the strict tobacco-related laws in the country. What are tobacco-related cancers? You'll think that it is just lung cancer, but in fact, it is oral or the cancer of the mouth and the esophagus. That is the cancer of the food pipe. So these were the two most common tobacco-related cancers, and they have come down. The cases of breast cancer, however, they have increased specifically in the urban areas. So you can say that lifestyle also has something to do with these kind of cancers. The major reason for this is late marriages and having children at a later age, high protein diets, not undertaking breastfeeding. So according to ICMR, these have been the major reasons for increase in breast cancer. Lung cancer cases also, they are quite concerning for the country. Now lung cancer, it's not caused only due to smoking. Indoor and outdoor. Indoor and outdoor pollution can also be a reason for high rates of lung cancer, because there is something called particulate matter. So particulate matter, when you inhale it, these matter, this get inserted in your lungs and they start disturbing the nearby cells. So these cells, they start dividing rapidly, abnormally, and this can cause cancer. So Zubeen, this report, the US report, it has been published in the American Cancer Society Journal. And this data that we have related to cancer, it has been obtained from ICMR plus the National Cancer Registry. So cure rates, however, over the years, they have improved a lot. when it comes to pancreatic cancer, one of the most deadliest cancer, the cure rate has improved from 3% to 6%. When it comes to prostate cancer, from 16% to 100%. Almost all the cases of prostate cancer, they are now curable. When it comes to breast cancer, it has increased from 50% to 90%. However, even now, there is inadequate infrastructure in India with regards to cancer prevention, detection, and cure. In fact, when it comes to cure, there is something called radiotherapy, which is used for curing cancer. According to WHO, in developing countries, there should be around one such machine for radiotherapy every 1 million population. However, in India, where the population is 1.4 billion and increasing, so we should ideally have 1400 such machines, but we have only 700 of them. Also, cancer intensive care units in the country, they are only 1 per 5 crore of population. So that is one alarming thing. So what are the steps that can be undertaken generally when it comes to cancer prevention and detection? First is awareness generation with regards to the causes of cancer, the symptoms, and timely screening and cure regarding cancer, so that people are aware that when they are feeling certain symptoms, when they are being exposed to certain causes, they can go and get themselves tested. Regular screening is of utmost importance when it comes to cancer. And in fact, most common cancers like breast cancer, like oral cancer, for them, the screening, it has already started by the health and wellness centers under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. Also, there is a need to research the causes behind the cancer. Now we knew that HPV or human papilloma virus was the cause behind cervical cancer. So people started getting vaccinated. They knew that smoking or having tobacco is the leading cause for oral cancer. So they stopped using that. Government brought in various types of legislations. So once we know the causes behind any cancer, it becomes very easy or comparatively easy to curb its spread. Also, vaccines, we need to develop more and more vaccines to prevent any kind of cancer. Apart from that, one biggest issue with cancer related treatment is that the availability of advanced treatment technology. We know that in India it is less. We have already discussed that, right? So it is necessary that advanced treatment technology, it is made available, and apart from that, it is made accessible, so that not just the rich but all the parts of the society, they are able to have an access to any such technology. HWC, Manika, is health and wellness centers. Amit, we'll come to the indigenous vaccine related issue in the upcoming slides. Now, what are the efforts that the government of India is taking in this regard? We have a national program for prevention and control of cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and stroke. So this is the only program in India when it comes to non-communicable diseases. And it was started way back in the year 2010 in order to increase the research and availability of trained human resources when it comes to non-communicable diseases. Now, under this program of Government of India, we have something called Tertiary Care Cancer Center Scheme. So what under this, we are going to set up or advance 20 state cancer institutes and 50 tertiary care cancer centers. Now for this, the government of India, it will provide a one-time grant amounting to 120 crore to the state cancer institutes and 50 crores to the tertiary care cancer centers to construct them, to get the equipments required for cancer care. Now this funding, it will be divided in a ratio of 60 to 40 between center and states. And for hilly area and northeastern regions, this will be 90:10 center and states. Now, as someone asked here, regarding indigenous HPV vaccine, we have in fact developed an HPV vaccine which is indigenous, known as SeraVac. So this is a very good advancement in cancer treatment and cancer prevention for country. Also, cancer treatment, we talked about accessibility, right? So cancer treatment is also covered under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, more commonly known as Ayushman Bharat. Okay. Apart from that, the National Cancer Institute, which is the premier most institute in India for cancer research and cancer training, it has been established at AIIMS Jhajjar campus. Jhajjar is in Haryana. So it has 700 beds. And this institute, it provides high-level care when it comes to cancer. And apart from that, it is the most premier institute for research and development in cancer treatment and cancer prevention technologies. Apart from that, we have something called National Cancer Grid. So this is being developed in collaboration with Government of India, Department of Atomic Energy, because radiotherapy is related to cancer treatment, right? So the Department of Atomic Energy is very much active when it comes to cancer issues in the country. And Tata Memorial Trust. So all these three, they are involved in development of a network of the various treatment institutes, of the patient groups, of the various researchers, in order to establish the various principles related to cancer treatment in the country, and also to provide training to the various pathologists and oncologists when it comes to cancer prevention, cancer detection, and cancer treatment. There is also a program known as National Cancer Registry Program, which has been started by the Government of India. The main body undertaking this is the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. So what is the main aim of this registry? It is to develop a cancer atlas of India to identify which areas have more cancer cases, which areas have less cancer cases. So this will help us in understanding the cancer patterns in the India. Now, once we know the patterns, we'll be able to have more targeted research when it comes to cancer cases or cancer incidence and deaths in the country. Now, once that is analyzed, that which area has how many cases, we will also be able to estimate that in the future, how many cases will be there when it comes to cancer, and accordingly, we'll be able to plan regarding our strategies to prevent cancer in the country. The third objective or the third purpose of this is to strengthen the pathology departments in various hospitals and medical colleges where there is a high incidence of cancer. Moreover, to establish or to strengthen these departments, it is very necessary that proper training is done of these pathologists regarding cancer registration and epidemiology. That is, study of the disease, study of cancer as a disease. Now, what is the way forward when it comes to cancer prevention detection? A lot more research is required in cancer prevention and development of various vaccines. Now we have seen that once the global pandemic hit the various countries, everyone came together to develop vaccines, and this was done very quickly. The vaccines were prepared very quickly. So same can be done for cancer as well, because cancer is a continuous disease that has been inflicting the population for many years, and this will only increase. The cases will only increase in the future. Also, various therapies like gene therapy, like immunotherapy, like radiotherapy, that can help in curing the cancers. AI, or artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence, it has been used in a lot of things, in a lot of fields right now. There is a need to improve the use of artificial intelligence for detection and cure of cancer as well. Apart from that, we need to have better infrastructure for prevention, detection, and cure of cancer. Prevention through mainly vaccines, detection through various diagnostic equipments, and cure through radiotherapy and through other means. Also, we need to invest in making cancer treatment accessible. Now, Indian government is already trying to do that through the Ayushman Bharat scheme, and this further needs to be increased so that there are more and more equipments available all across the country, so that not just financially but also geographically the treatment of cancer is accessible. Now we come to a practice question. Up until now, has there been any doubts? Okay, perfect. We'll start with the practice question. I'll give you 30 seconds. Try to build a framework for this question. I'll first read it out, then I'll give you the time. India has seen steady progress in its cancer treatment efforts. Critically analyze the steps taken by the government in this regard. Now, 30 seconds, they start right now. Himani, this topic can be useful both for prelims and for mains. Okay, now let us start with the solution. How can we write this question? In the introduction, so critically analyze, Amit, it means that you have to give the positives as well as the negatives, and finally analyze the whole situation. Okay, so in the introduction you can write that what is cancer. So cancer is nothing but uncontrollable multiplication of cells in the body that can lead to formation of various malignant tumors, right? So then we talk about India, that over the years India has shown a progress when it comes to cancer cures. You can give the example of the pancreatic cancer, of the prostate cancer, and the breast cancer. Then you come to the body part. Now, because we have to critically analyze this, we have to first give the positives. So in the positives, you can say that the government of India has taken various steps like the NPC, DCS, National Cancer Institute, National Cancer Grade. You can also talk about the cancer registry, inclusion of cancer treatment in Jan Arogya Yojana. Then you come to the negatives. In the negatives, you'll say that India's population is already 1.4 billion and it is going to increase in the future. Compared to that, we do not have enough facilities for cancer care and for cancer treatment, right? So this will be the negative. You can state your various figures over here, like we have only 700 radiotherapy machines all over the country, only one cancer care unit, intensive care unit for 5 crore of the population. And apart from that, you can also mention that India, it is undergoing a demographic dividend. We have a high amount of youth population. In the upcoming years, this population will definitely grow old, and the cancer cases, they might also increase. Moreover, there is a problem of pollution in the country, which will further increase our susceptibility to these cancers. Now, in the conclusion, you can write that over the years, in the past 3 decades, even USA has seen a considerable decline, specifically due to proper screening and intervention of the government when it comes to cancer. So India also, while undertaking these steps and while planning the various negatives in our cancer treatment efforts, if we are properly able to plan that, then we will also be able to achieve this reduction. Is my voice audible? Okay, just wanted to confirm. Thank you. Now we come to our second topic, rare earth metals in Sweden. So Sweden, which is a Scandinavian country, it has discovered huge deposits of rare earth metals in its far north regions. Now these far north regions are in the Arctic area, that is beyond 60° north latitude. Now the expected quantity of these rare earth metal deposits is more than 1 million tons. So that is very important for Europe. Why? We'll see in the upcoming slides. However, there is one caveat related to this, that it will take more than 1 decade for the minerals from this mine to come to the market. And this also is the only deposit of rare earth metals that has been found in Europe. So what is the significance of this particular discovery? Now, rare earth metals, they are very essential for many cutting edge technologies. We'll see the uses in the upcoming slides. We'll also see what rare earth metals are. But first, let us see what is the significance of this discovery. Currently, rare earth metals, they are not mined anywhere in Europe, and Europe is heavily dependent upon China. That is, it imports 98% of its rare earth metal requirement from China. So what happens now? This gives China this monopoly over the rare earth metal market. It gives China a very good strategic advantage. And in fact, China has been using this advantage for itself. There are 3 cases over here. One, in the 1990s, according to United States Geological Survey, has the screen stopped? Has it frozen? Or is it visible to everyone? Okay. Okay, so it's visible to most of the people. So if it has frozen for you, I request you to kindly refresh the screen. Okay. So first case is of 1990s, when according to the United States Geological Survey, China used this advantage, this monopoly over the rare earth metals, to decide how much amount of metals should go in the market, and it used to stop the supply or increase the supply depending upon its whims and fancies. Second, in the year 2010, when the captain of a Chinese ship, he was held by Tokyo or Japan for 2 months, China stopped any kinds of rare earth metal exports to Japan. And the third case, when the United States, it started its scrutiny of a Chinese company called Huawei on the case of spying in the year 2020. Then again, China threatened to stop its export of rare earth metals to USA. So this monopoly is giving China a lot of strategic advantage, right? So now what is rare earth metals? Rare earth metals, they are a group of 17 elements. They are marked as orange in this particular diagram. They include scandium, yttrium, and 15 lanthanides. So these are the lanthanides, these. So there are 17 elements that are considered as rare earth metals. However, one thing very necessary that you need to know is that they are abundant in Earth's crust. However, they are very scattered. A few grams here, a few kgs here, some tons over there. So they are not in mineable quantities. Now, what is mineable quantities? If you are constructing a mine over somewhere, it should be essential that the amount of output, amount of mineral you'll get from the mine should be much higher than the cost of setting up that mine in that place, right? However, what happens in case of rare earth metals? The mineable quantity is not very high all across the earth. So that is why they are considered as rare. They are available in mineable quantities only in a few pockets across the world. So what are the common uses of these rare earth metals? I request all of you to, whoever is having the problem with video and audio, to kindly refresh it. Refresh your screen, please. Okay, so what are the various uses of these rare earth metals? The very important use related to them and the reason for their increase in demand is their essential requirement for development of climate change adaptation and mitigation related technologies. You can see over here are the various metals and these are their uses. They are used for development of the wind turbines, for energy efficient light bulbs, for hybrid vehicles, that is electric vehicles, for catalytic converters. Now these converters are required to be installed in various vehicles to reduce the amount of poisonous gases that are going out of its exhaust. They are also required for rechargeable batteries, which are very essential for these electric vehicles. And apart from that, apart from climate change related technology, it is also useful for healthcare, like radiotherapy that we talked about just in the previous topic, for diagnostics. It's important for this. In case of defense, you can see that missile guidance systems, they use these rare earth metals. Computer and IT, you can see that smartphones, iPods, CDs, DVDs, earphones, speakers, LCDs and screens, they all use rare earth metals. Also advanced transportation systems like electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and so on. So these are the uses of the rare earth metals. Now what about their distribution all across the world? Now as I said earlier, China has a monopoly when it comes to export of the rare earth metals. The biggest reason behind that is availability, high amount of availability of these metals in China. China has the biggest reserves of these metals amounting to 44 million tons. Second comes Vietnam, which has half of it, that is 22 million tons. India has 6.9 million tons. Russia 12 million, Brazil 21 million. So first we have China, then we have Vietnam, Brazil, Russia, and on fifth comes India. When it comes to production of these metals, again China produces the maximum, that is 140,000 tons. Second is USA, which is producing even less than half of what China is producing. Then we have Myanmar, Australia, Madagascar, and on sixth number we have India. So what about India? Are these metals available in India? We have already stated that India has the fifth biggest reserve. We have 6% of the global reserves of rare earth metals. However, when it comes to production, we are producing only 1% of the global output. So Jyoti, critical and rare earth elements I'll be dealing in the upcoming slides, so don't worry. Okay. So India is highly dependent upon imports from China. In fact, if we take the data from 2018-19, 92% when it comes to value and 97% when it comes to quantity of these rare earth metal imports, they came from China. So that is another big problem for India. We are highly dependent on China for many of our critical imports. So when it comes to India, we have 6% global reserves, and apart from that, we have 35% of global beach sand reserves. So what are these? These beach sands, they are quite rich in rare earth metals like ilmenite. So they are rich not in the metals but the minerals associated or the ores of these metals like ilmenite, rutile, zircon, garnet, sillimanite, monazite, and leucoxene. So monazite here is very important for us because apart from various lanthanides, it also has an actinide known as thorium. Now thorium is a radioactive element and it is to be used in India's atomic energy program in the upcoming years. So this is very important for us, and India has 25% of the global deposits of thorium, and thorium is very necessary for our energy security in the upcoming years. As of now, only 2 entities they are involved in the mining of rare earth metals. What are these 2 entities? Both are PSUs. That is public sector undertakings. One is Kerala Minerals and Metals Limited, which is located in Kollam in Kerala, and its focus is on mining of titanium. Then we have Indian Rare Earths Limited. So basically, it has headquarters in Mumbai. However, it is functioning in, again, Kerala, where it is undertaking the mining of the beach sands. Now CII, that is Confederation of Indian Industries, is not very happy with only 2 entities undertaking the entire production of rare earth metals in the country. And because of that, they have called for a mission specifically focused on increasing the production of these rare earth metals called India Rare Earths Mission, so that more and more entities, both private as well as public, can be involved in increasing our production of rare earth metals and making us Atmanirbhar. As a part of this, not this mission, we do not have this mission as of now, but as a part of increasing our rare earth metal outputs, India is undertaking the Deep Ocean Mission. Now, Deep Ocean Mission is being undertaken by the Ministry of Earth Sciences between 2021 to 2026, and it is almost 4,077 crore project. So what will we do under this project? We will explore 75,000 square kilometer of Central Indian Ocean Basin, and we'll try to find out various biotic, that is biological, and abiotic, that is non-biological, non-living resources like metals and various minerals. We'll try to explore and find whether these are available in this region and whether they can be mined by India. So this includes, these metals and minerals includes our exploration, our efforts to find rare earth metals in this region. CII is Confederation of Indian Industries. Amrita, Kollam is a district in Kerala. Yes, Nazla, this is the Samudrayan mission only. So this is another name for Samudrayan mission. So Venkat, the reason why we have these PSUs mainly in Kerala is because the availability of rare earth metals is mainly in the Kerala regions, the beach regions of Kerala. That's why. MOES is Ministry of Earth Sciences. Now, at a global level, what is being done in this regard to break the monopoly of China? We have something called Mineral Securities Partnership, which was started under the leadership of USA and has its 10 partners as its members. So total we have 11 members. It was started in August 2022. So what are the members? We have US, Australia, Canada, Finland, France, Germany, Japan, South Korea, Sweden, UK and the European Commission. So this partnership is focusing on one thing very simply, that minerals which are critical for clean development, no country should have a monopoly of that, and there should not be any kind of shortage or irresponsible use of these metals. So what are these? What all is included over here? We have the rare earth metals, and apart from that we have Ko-Li-Ni, that is cobalt, lithium and nickel, right? Raza, rare earth elements, beach minerals has various minerals which include rare earth metals or rare earth elements. So this partnership is focusing on rare earth metals or rare earth elements and Ko-Li-Ni, right? So this is to ensure that there is non-disruptive production, processing and recycling of these metals so that they are readily available all across the world without a monopoly of any one country on them. It urges the various governments and the private sector to invest in exploration and various technologies for processing and recycling these critical elements, including the rare earth metals. So this includes sharing of information amongst the various members. Second, increase in investments when it comes to processing them and producing them. And third is increasing investment or research in recycling technologies when it comes to rare earth elements. Okay, so India is not a part of this partnership as of now. However, India has supported this idea and we are talking to US in order to become a part of this partnership. So now we come to a practice question. Up until now, is everything clear to you? No, Saurabh, this is not binding. This is just a partnership for proper dispersal of information regarding rare earth elements. Okay, perfect. Enumerate. Amit, enumerate, it means listing down. Okay, great. We'll come to this question. Again, you'll get 30 seconds. Try to develop a framework for this question, including introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay. So what are rare earth metals? Enumerating their uses, give an account of the distribution of these metals across the world. So your 30 seconds, they start now. Okay, so we'll start with the write-up for this question. First, we'll start with introduction. Now, this question has given you the opportunity for writing the introduction on a platter. They have directly asked what are rare earth metals, and you can easily start your answer with that only. You can define that rare earth metals are a group of 17 elements, including scandium, yttrium, and 15 lanthanides. They are not really rare on the earth. However, their availability in mineable quantities, it is quite less. Then you come to your body part. The body part will have two parts again. First, we need to give out their uses, and second, we need to give their distribution across the world. Villapil, the reason why China is not a part of this alliance is because this alliance is basically to counter China's monopoly when it comes to rare earth elements. Okay. So in the body part, you will first talk about the various uses. So uses you can easily enumerate: clean development, which includes development of clean energy resources and various other resources or technologies which are useful for climate change mitigation and adaptation. You can give examples of wind turbines, EVs, batteries, catalytic converters, and so on, right? Second use, healthcare, radiotherapy, diagnostics. Then we have defense, missile guiding technology, and various other weapons. Then you can come to computer and IT, LCD screens, CDs, DVDs, and so on. And then you can come on mechanical sector, where rare earth metals, they are used in power tools. Okay, so these are the uses. Now you come to the distribution. In the distribution, you can say with regards to the reserves, China has the highest amount of reserves, which is followed by Vietnam, then Brazil, Russia, and on 5th position comes India. You can talk about top 5. You can also add over here that though reserves are like this, the production does not reflect the amount of reserves. Though China is still the biggest producer, the second biggest producer is USA, then it comes to Myanmar, Australia, and Madagascar. India is on 6th position when it comes to production of these metals. And then you can, in your conclusion, you can mention that as world is gearing up to experience the increasing vagaries of climate change, and as we are gearing up to increase our resilience to the same, the demand for these rare earth metals, it will keep on increasing. So it is extremely necessary that we use them in a very judicious manner. So that will end your entire answer. Okay. Okay, now we go to the next topic, 17th Annual State of Education Report. Now this report, it was published or released on 18th January by an NGO known as Pratham. And under this, the biggest discovery was that the enrollment ratio in India when it comes to 6 to 14 years age of children, it is highest till date. That is 98.4% of these children, they are now enrolled in schools. So about ASER, or Annual State of Education Report, it is a household survey. People go to various houses and try to get information out of the children. It is done in the rural areas and it started in the year 2005. So this is a very old exercise. It checks two main things. One is the enrollment levels of the children between 3 to 16 years. And it also assesses the basic arithmetic or the basic mathematical skills. That includes addition, subtraction, and division and multiplication, and the reading ability, whether the student is able to read the text that is provided to them at district, state, and national levels. Amlin, ACER is Annual State of Education Report. So what are the major findings of this study? One, as we've already studied, the enrollment in India is at a record high, 98.4%. It has never been more than this. However, one big concern is that there has been a dip in the reading and mathematical abilities of the pupils, of the children. You can see over here that over the years there had been an increase, but now this has dipped even to below the 2012 levels. So that is a very concerning fact, and it is related to the disruption that was caused in schooling due to the COVID pandemic. Now, many children, they were not able to homeschool themselves. The parents, they were not educated, they were not able to help the students, the teachers were not available. Online education, many students, they were not able to conduct, right? Apart from that, it was seen that in classes 5th and 8th, now just one small note about this, the children who are given the test for reading and mathematical abilities, they are divided into 3 groups: class 2 students, class 5 students, and class 8 students, right? So when it was seen for classes 5 and classes 8, it was seen that boys were better at maths and girls were better at reading the texts. Another very important study, another very important conclusion of this study was that there has been an increase in government school enrollments. That is 72.4% of these students, they are in government schools. Now between 2010 to 2014, there was a decline in the number of enrollments in government schools. Then between 14 to 18, there was a plateau, and now we have seen an increase in the number of enrollments. This again is associated with COVID pandemic, according to Pratham, because people had to migrate back to their places, back to the rural places. There was a reduction in the income of the people, and moreover, many schools, they got closed down due to the pandemic, and because of that, there has been an increase in government school enrollments. One very good news with regards to this is that there is a decline in the number of girls who are not enrolled in schools, and this decline is very major, 7.9%, almost 8%. Apart from that, there has been an increase in the number of students that are attending tuition classes. This again is related to the COVID pandemic, online education, and inability of the parents to teach their kids, and that's why they were taking external support. Now this increase has been highest in the state of Bihar. There are 5 states where this increase was not seen. These states are Gujarat, Tripura, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Apart from that, there has been an improvement seen in teacher attendance by almost 2%. So that is also very good news. The basic amenities of the schools, they have also improved. You can see over here in this table. Pratham is an NGO. Okay, so it is an NGO which undertakes the ACER study. Okay. So there has been an improvement in basic amenities of the schools. You can see for drinking water, for usable toilets, both for boys and more especially for girls, because this was one of the biggest reasons that girls had to drop out from the schools after a certain age. Availability of library books, midday meals, and availability of computers and their usage by the children. So all this has improved according to this study. Khushi, this report was released on 18th January 2023 by an NGO known as Pratham. So what is government doing with regards to this? So there is a special government scheme for improving learning outcomes. This is known as Nipun Bharat scheme. Nipun is the acronym for National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy. So what is the aim of this particular scheme? It is to improve the knowledge related to fundamental literacy and fundamental mathematics. So fundamental literacy is being able to read, write and understand at least one language properly, and fundamental mathematics, being able to do basic mathematical functions like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So what is the target for this particular scheme? It includes students between 3 to 9 years. And the main aim of this particular scheme is that by the year 2026, all the students up to class 3, they will have a basic knowledge of fundamental literacy and fundamental mathematics. They'll be able to read, write, understand at least one language and perform these mathematical functions. So this scheme, this program is a part of Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. Samagra means holistic. Earlier we had the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, which was focusing only on elementary education. However, Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan is focusing on all kinds of education, be it elementary, be it primary, secondary, tertiary, and so on. So as we have already covered that students between 3 to 9 years, that is students up to class 3, they will be covered under the scheme from preschool to class 3. Now, what about the students in the higher classes which do not have this knowledge? For them, special programs through teacher and peer education will be conducted so that they are also on par with the other students. There is also special emphasis on building teacher capacity in the scheme. And for this, a special program known as Nishtha is being developed by NCERT. So what is the full form of Nishtha? It is National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement. Under this, the teachers and the school heads, they will be given proper training, proper education in order to how to improve this thing, that is fundamental literacy and the knowledge of fundamental mathematics amongst the students. So this is 3.0. Before this, 2 other Nishthas were initiated by NCERT. Nishtha 1.0 was for training the teachers between class 1 to 8, and Nishtha 2.0 was to train the teachers from class 9 to class 12. Nishtha full form, it has already been stated, National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement. So now we come to a practice question. I'll read out the question, then you'll get some time to give your answer. Which of the following statements are not true? Please focus on this. ASA survey is held every year by the Ministry of Education. The 17th ASA survey showed improvement in the enrollment ratio across India. The Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan has been undertaken by the government to improve elementary education in India. So I'm giving all of you 10 seconds. So give your correct answer over here. Okay, so most of you have given answer A, which is incorrect. Why? Because 3 is also incorrect. Acer is held by Pratham. So this is incorrect. This is correct. Yes, we have seen the highest enrollment right now. This is incorrect. We are not just focusing on elementary education through Samadra Shiksha Abhiyan. We are also focusing on secondary and tertiary education. I've already mentioned in the previous slide, right? So the correct answer here is C, and it is not A. Okay. Now we move on to our next topic, that is on cloud forests. So what is the context related to this? What do you understand by cloud forest? Now you know that cloud, this term is not just clouds that you see in the sky. These days this term is also used for cloud storage. But over here, this term is related to the clouds that are seen in the sky. Okay, so do not get confused if you get a question regarding what do you understand by cloud forests. So there has been a report that was published on 6th January by a firm, an advisory firm known as Earth Security. So it was titled Cloud Forest Assets Financing a Valuable Nature-Based Solutions. So what do you understand by these cloud forests? So cloud forests are nothing but they're tropical vegetations which are located in high mountainous areas. They are also known as montane, that is related to mountains, rainforests. And they occur at a height of 1000 to 2500 meters. The very important thing about these cloud forests is that they are quite rare in nature because many conditions need to be fulfilled for creation of these cloud forests. One, they are formed only near to water bodies, and these water bodies, they need to be huge, like very big lakes or oceans or sea. So they need to be very close to water bodies. They are always on mountainous areas. And the local weather should be such that the rain-bearing clouds, they should reach in this region. So they are located on the windward sides. So if this is the direction of movement of the wind, this is the mountain. Then this is the windward side and this is the leeward side. The direction from where wind is coming is called windward side. So these forests, they are located on the windward side of the mountains, and they have multiple layers of vegetation. Because they are located on the windward side, there is a huge amount of precipitation that occurs in this region, and that is why they are very rich in any kind of vegetation. Okay, so now why are they called cloud forest? Now, because they are on the windward side, they always have a cloud cover or mist associated with them, and that is why they are known as cloud forests. Epiphytes. Epiphytes are what? Climbers. Climbers play a very important role over here, and they are one of the most common plants or vegetation that are seen in this area. There are high number of endemic species, that is species which are available only in these cloud forests. They are very high in number. However, when compared to the rainforests which are available in lowlands, which are not in the mountainous areas, then the productivity of these cloud forests, it is lower. Now this is because of various reasons. One, sunlight. Because they are perpetually covered by clouds, not high amount of sunlight is available over here. Second, there is a lot of moisture. And because of this, what happens? The soil, it becomes acidic. Right? And in acidic soil, vegetation does not grow very well. Right? And third, The soil, it becomes acidic and it is on mountainous region, so it is also not very stable. So these are the reasons why there is lower productivity in these cloud forests or these montane rainforests compared to the rainforest in the lowlands. Now, because these are very rare and they require very specific conditions that need to be fulfilled for their presence in any area, 90% of these forests, they are present in 25 countries only. So they are not very common all across the world. Bhavna, endemic species are those species which are, for example, this is your area. So if there is any species that is available only in this area, then that will be known as a species that is endemic to this particular area. Okay, so what is the distribution of these cloud forests? You'll see that they are very rarely available. They are mostly in tropical regions near water bodies. And they need to have a mountain. So you'll see that here, they are near water bodies. Here, they are near water bodies. What about here? Here you will see that this is the area of Rift Valley of Africa, and here many large lakes, they are available, and also mountains are also available. So that is why even in this area there is a presence of cloud forests. In India, in the Western Ghats area, we find cloud forests. Now, what is the significance and what are the concerns related to these cloud forests? First, we'll talk about the significance. Now, they play a hydrological function. Now, because of these forests are on the windward side, what happens? The cloud, they keep on rising over here. So, many times what happens? The trees canopy, the clouds, they get restricted by the tree's canopy, and instead of moving up, they start settling near the ground. Now, what is fog? Fog is nothing but near surface clouds. So what happens? These clouds, they settle near the surface, and they become the fog. And the moisture from this fog, it is getting accumulated. It gets accumulated on the leaves of the tree and it drips on the ground slowly. So this is known as fog drip. Also, since this is the windward side, there is a high amount of precipitation, and trees through transpiration related activities also increase the amount of precipitation that is available in this region. So what happens? Many of the communities, many of the people who are living at the bottom regions of this mountain, they receive their water from these activities. So cloud forests are very important when it comes to hydrological function of these forests. Next, they also undertake soil conservation. Now, a lot of water, keeps on going down from these slopes, right? However, what happens? There is no amount of soil erosion even when the rains are very heavy, because the trees that are available over here, they are able to bind the soil over here. So they also help in soil conservation. Then it comes to carbon sequestration. So carbon sequestration means taking in the carbon from the atmosphere, removing the carbon from the atmosphere. Now trees, they are the lungs of the earth, right? They take up carbon dioxide, they release oxygen. So they also play a very important role in carbon sequestration. However, what are the concerns when it comes to these forests? They are threatened by many human activities and climate change. Now, climate change, what is it doing? It is changing the local climate of the regions. It is changing the ways the ocean currents are moving. And because of that, the amount of rainfall available on these forests, it is also reducing. Now the amount of rainfall is reducing. These forests, they are drying up. Human activities like logging, like cutting forests for settlements, for agricultural activities, that is also a big threat to these forests. Now, there was a study by Global Forest Survey. So this study was done in 1990, and according to this study, every year Earth was losing 1% of the cloud forest. In fact, in countries like Colombia, already by 1990 only, 80% of these forests, they were already lost to human settlements, to infrastructure development, and to logging activities. In fact, according to the report by Earth Security, which was the context related to this topic, since the 1970s, there has been a very steep reduction in their presence. They used to form 11% of the global forests back in 1970s, and now they form only 1% of the global forest. So this is again a very alarming thing. Now their elimination, it raises many questions. Main among them is water security. Now many of the communities living downhill from these forests depend upon the water, the streams coming from these forests for their water security. So if these forests, they get eliminated, the water security is hampered. Moreover, the animal from these forests, they will enter the human habitations, and this will increase the amount of man-animal conflicts. And this has already been seen in many Central American countries. So what are the various conservation efforts when it comes to these forests? Under UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, there is something called World Conservation Monitoring Center, and under this 327 cloud forests, they have already been listed as protected areas. What about country level efforts? There are a few examples over here, some exemplary examples. In the year 2008, the country of Ecuador, which is located in South America, it included in its new constitution. So in its new constitution, Ecuador became the first country in the entire world to recognize the rights of the nature. It also recognized the rights of the people and the communities to bring forward any cases where the natural resources or the nature was threatened. Moreover, cloud forests, they are very difficult to grow artificially. However, countries like Singapore and San Francisco in USA, they have already developed artificial gardens or artificial cloud forests. Moreover, there is this fund called Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, which is a consortium of many agencies like Development Agency of France, European Union, Global Environment Facility, Government of Japan, Conservation International. So all of them, they have established a fund to protect the critical ecosystems of the world, and under this they are helping many countries. For example, Colombia in South America, Fiji in Asia. So they are helping these kind of countries which have cloud forests in their conservation efforts. So what about the report? What is the report saying? So it is basically giving us a way forward, how to better improve the conservation efforts related to these cloud forests. One is need to recognize the economic importance of these cloud forests. I'll give you an example over here. The 25 countries that we talked about, which have 90% of these cloud forests, these countries, they have almost 979 dams which have been constructed on streams which are getting their water from these cloud forests. Apart from that, almost 124 more dams, they are in some or the other stage of planning. So what is the economic importance or economic financial aspect of this? It is that in 10 years, these 979 dams, they will have a value of almost 140 crores. And when we include these dams also, it will be 240, sorry, not crores, billion dollars. And when we include these also, it's 246 billion dollars, right? So this is a huge economic importance associated with these forests. Now, once we are able to understand their economic importance, the various industries, the various hydrological projects that are being planned on the water from these forests, they can be asked to pay certain fees for conservation of these forests. Another thing they talked about is issuing of cloud forest bonds. Now there is something called green bonds. Now these green bonds, they raise money for investment in clean technologies or any technology or any project that is reducing climate change, right? So cloud forest bonds are a type of green bonds which according to Earth Security, the firm that released this report, they can be used by the governments of the countries which have cloud forests in order to raise capitals from philanthropists, from other countries, and from other private sector people to conserve the cloud forests. Apart from that, the 25 countries which have 90% of these cloud forests, they can come together to form a Cloud Forest 25 investment initiative where they can discuss on more innovative ways in which they can raise capital for protection and conservation of these cloud forests. There is also an extensive need to recognize the land ownership rights of the local and indigenous people who are living in or around these cloud forests, because according to this report, wherever these rights were recognized, the conservation efforts, they are more successful. So Manika, I'll be repeating this point. So 979 dams, they are already in place in 25 countries which have 90% of the total cloud forest. Now the value associated with these dams is around $140 billion. Moreover, 1024 more dams are being planned in this region, and the overall value of this thing will be $246 billion. Okay, so now we come to the practice question. Is everything understood by everyone up until now? Nazia, we do not have any cloud forest in the Himalayan region. The reason for that is there was one particular thing associated with cloud forest, that they need to be close to very huge water bodies, right? So they are usually in the areas near the oceans and the seas. So they are not available in the Himalayan regions. So that is why Joshimath subsidence is not at all associated with cloud forests. Okay, so now this practice question. Cloud forests are a very rare ecosystem, but they hold immense ecological and economic value. Elaborate. That is, you need to elaborate, give your arguments in favor of this particular statement. So again, 30 seconds, try to make a framework for this answer. Nandini, yes, in the peninsular part of India, we do have cloud forests in the Western Ghat region. Amit, it is, yes, dams are associated, or the biggest reason why they have an economic value. Apart from that, these cloud forests, they also undertake many types of ecosystem services. Like I talked about carbon sequestration, making the air pure, right? So these are all the economic values that are associated with these forests. Okay, now let us start with the solution. In introduction, you can first give a definition of the cloud forests and how that they are rare, and only 25 countries, they contain 90% of these forests. In the body part, you can say why they are rare, because they require very specific conditions for their creation, like mountainous regions, plus enough rainfall, and plus they should be near huge big water bodies, right? Then you'll start with the ecological and the economic value. In the ecological, you can start with ecosystem services that they are providing. Now, ecosystem services, they can be both economic and ecological, but mostly we consider them as a ecological service because they cannot be economized. We cannot try to understand. It's difficult for us to understand what is the total value in rupees or in dollars when it comes to the ecosystem services that these forests are providing to us. Ecosystem services are services like purifying the air, increasing the precipitation, carbon sequestration, right? So in ecological, you can talk about ecosystem services, and you can also talk about soil conservation. Here, in the ecosystem services, it is very important to talk about carbon sequestration, and you can relate it to the climate change. Economic values, mainly the hydrological services that they are providing, and over here you can very well give that example of the dams, right? So you have covered the ecological and the economic value. Then in the conclusion part, you can mention how they are very important for both economic and ecological reasons. However, currently they are extremely threatened form of ecosystem, and the world needs to come together to protect these forests, right? Now the next topic, Jallikattu and other traditional animal sports of India. So what is Jallikattu? It is a sport that is played during Pongal in the state of Tamil Nadu. So there is a Jallikattu belt in Tamil Nadu which includes 5 districts: Pudukkottai, Theni, Dindigul, Madurai, and Tiruchirappalli. So this is known as the Jallikattu belt of Tamil Nadu, and this sport is played mainly in these 5 districts. Now in mid-January, we celebrate a harvest festival in many parts of the country. It is known by different names like Sankranti in northern parts of India, in Maharashtra, in Karnataka. We call it Pongal in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, and in Northeast, specifically in Assam, it is known as Magha Bihu. Now, it is during this time that Jallikattu is organized in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so what about Jallikattu? What is it? It is often compared to Spanish bullfighting. However, it is very different compared to Spanish bullfighting. Here, usually a single person is trying to control the bull, whereas in Jallikattu, multiple people are involved and they are trying to control the bull. And compared to Spanish bullfighting, it is a very old sport. We find the reference to this sport in Mohenjo-daro seals, which are almost 2500 to 1800 BC. So these seals, they were created that long ago. Moreover, a Tamil epic which was created during the Sangam age, known as Silapadikaram, it also has a reference to this particular sport. Now this sport, it honors the various bull rearers who are rearing this bull not just for plowing their fields but also for this particular sport. So it celebrates the relationship between man and these animals. It respects the cordial relationship between these. So that is why Jallikattu is played or is conducted in Tamil Nadu. However, over the various years, over the past 2 decades, there has been a legal battle related to this sport. So try to listen to it like a story. So since early 2000s, many animal welfare societies, they were trying to ban the sport of Jallikattu because according to them, the bulls, they were being mistreated in this sport. In 2006, what happened? A young spectator died because of the injuries due to the bull. So the Madras High Court, it called for a statewide ban on this sport. In 2009, however, Tamil Nadu government, it passed the Jallikattu Act, and which led to resumption or restarting of this sport. Then the Animal Welfare Board of India, it prepared a report under which it said that the bull, it was being mutilated, it was being mistreated, it got hurt during the sport, and not just the bull, even the people and the spectators, they are getting hurt due to the sport, and that is why it is necessary that center takes some action to ban this sport. So in 2011, based on this report, the central government, it moved the bulls to a category of animals whose taming and exhibition was prohibited. So conclusively, this reduced or this led to another ban on this sport. In 2014, when many people, they went to Supreme Court against this decision of central government, under the A. Nagaraj case, Supreme Court banned all kinds of bull taming and bull racing sports all across the India. So this, apart from Jallikattu, included other sports as well. However, due to various political reasons, in 2016, the 2011 notification over which the Supreme Court gave its 2014 verdict, it was revoked by the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. So in 2017, what happened? Tamil Nadu government, it passed 2 acts. Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, Tamil Nadu Amendment Act of 2017. Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, Conduct of Jallikattu Rules in 2017. Sorry, it was not 2 acts, it was 1 act and the rules related to that act. So this again led to Jallikattu not being banned in the country. So against this decision, many animal welfare societies, including PETA, People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, which is a NGO, they again went to Supreme Court in February. However, Supreme Court said in its final judgment related to Jallikattu that it is not a bloody sport as there is no use of any kinds of weapons. And any kind of blood that occurs in the sport, it is incidental and not. So it is basically incidental only. So it is not intended, right? So since then, the Jallikattu sport is now being organized every year during Pongal. So what are other such sports in India? We have Kambala in coastal Karnataka. So it is also 300 years old. It is a buffalo racing sport. So buffalo, they race buffalo in sludged rice or paddy fields. So it is a racing sports of buffalo, and since 2017 it has been legal in the country. We have Bail Gadi Serath. Bail Gadi is bullock cart. So we have this kind of bullock cart racing that is conducted in Maharashtra during the Ganpati festival. It is being held for since many centuries, and it is legal in the country now. There is also camel racing that is held during the Pushkar festival in Rajasthan, which takes place in November. So during this festival, not just camel racing, camel beauty contest is also held, and there is something called camel fall competition where many people, they try to sit on the various camels, and the camel which is able to accommodate most number of people without falling down wins. This is also legal in the country. Apart from that, we have something called cock or rooster fights. Now, there is evidence that these fights, they have also been held in India for millenniums, that is, even during Indus Valley civilization. And it is considered sacred in India and often associated with temples. So this sport, it was popular in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Kerala. However, it has been banned in the country. Another similar sport known as Bulbul fights, which is a 400-year-old tradition in Assam during Magh Bihu. Magh Bihu, it also takes place in mid-January. So mainly there is one temple, Hayagrib Mandhab in Assam, where these Bulbul fights used to take place. However, the Guwahati High Court, it has banned this fight. Also, horse racing, which has been conducted for centuries in Greece, Babylon, and many other European and West Asian countries. It is also being conducted in India. It was introduced in India about 200 years ago. Now, according to a 1996 ruling by the Supreme Court of India, the betting on horses, it is allowed. Any kind of other betting, it is not allowed or highly regulated in India. However, betting on horse races is allowed because according to the court, this is a game of skill and not of luck. Why a game of skill? Because any person who is betting money on the horses need to know about the history of the horse, the health of the horse, the performance of the horse in the previous races, and only then they take an informed decision. All kind of information is being provided to them, and they are able to take an informed decision on this, right? So this is a game of skill and not a game of luck. So it is allowed in India. So now we come to a practice question related to this particular topic. So first of all, were you able to understand all the concepts? Great. So this is another question, prelim type question. Which of the following statements are true? Kambala is a bull racing sport in Karnataka. Bull fights are illegal in India. Jallikattu finds a reference in Tamil epic Mani Mekalai. Betting on horses is legal in India. So again, I'll be giving you 10 seconds. Start. Okay. So, most of you have said option A is correct. However, I emphasized on this thing that Kambala is not a bull racing sport, it is a buffalo racing sport. So this is a wrong statement. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is B. That is, only options 2 and 4 are correct. This is a wrong option. This is also wrong because the reference is in Silapadikaram and not in Mani Mekalai. Okay, now we move on to our next topic, which has been taken from the December 2022 edition of Yojana. We'll talk about what is earthquake resistant construction and the various techniques, the two major techniques that were discussed in this particular article. So the context here is 59% of India's landmass is prone to earthquakes. In fact, 38 cities with population greater than or equal to 0.5 million, they fall in these three zones, that is zones which are at risk of earthquakes. Now this seismic zonation map of India was constructed in the year 2002 by Bureau of Indian Standards. Okay, so according to this, India was divided into 4 zones. Zone 5, which was at a very high risk of earthquakes. Zone 4, which was at high risk. 3, which was at moderate risk. And Zone 2, low risk. So 59% of India's landmass, that is majority of India's landmass, it lies in these 3 zones that are under risk with earthquakes. So what do you understand by earthquake resilient infrastructure? So these are basically low damage designs. So what do you mean by this is that whenever there is an earthquake, the designs do not get damaged. The buildings or the people residing in the buildings or critical equipments inside the buildings, they do not get damaged. So there should be a low damage to the people and to the property in case the earthquake strikes that region. Earliest reference to this kind of resilient infrastructure was way back in 1891 when there were suggestions that buildings should be placed on rolling rocks so that when earth moves, the buildings move with it so that they do not fall down. The most important characteristic related to these buildings is that they need to be ductile. The one quick thing that when we talked about zonation of India, there is nothing like zone 1. We have zone 5 to zone 2 only. That is how the Bureau of Indian Standard gave the zonation. Now, what is the most important characteristic? It is ductility. Now, there are 2 types of materials. Something can be brittle or it can be ductile. What is a brittle substance? That when you put some amount of force on that, it breaks. A very good example is glass. When some amount of force is applied on glass, it breaks, it cracks. Ductile materials are that which do not break under force. They might change their shape, they might get disformed, but they do not break like the brittle materials. So this is the most important characteristic of this resilient infrastructure. It needs to be ductile so that when earthquake related force is applied on it, it gets applied on that particular building, it might change its shape, but it might not break down. Now, concrete is a substance that is brittle. Most of the buildings, they are constructed of concrete. However, one very special element, that is steel, is added to this concrete, and this combination becomes reinforced concrete. So what happens is that when steel is added to concrete, the whole design, it becomes ductile. Instead of just being of concrete and brittle, the whole design, it becomes ductile when steel is added to concrete. Steel rods are added to concrete blocks, and with that the buildings are made. So according to this article, a research has been conducted by IIT Roorkee, which says that when thermocol is being used for construction of buildings as a core in reinforced concrete sandwich, that then it increases the earthquake resistance properties of the buildings up to 4th floor. So what is reinforced concrete sandwich and how is thermocol being used as its core? So this is one slab of reinforced concrete. This is another slab of reinforced concrete. What is reinforced concrete? We have steel bars over which concrete is placed, so that to make the whole design more ductile. Now, if thermocol is used as a core between two pieces or two slabs of reinforced concrete, then that will increase the resilience of the building when it comes to earthquakes. This will reduce the mass of the building and thus the impact of earthquake force on that building. The building will become more ductile and lighter so that the impact of earthquake on it is not very high. This will also reduce the loss of life in case the building falls because the mass of the building has been reduced. What are the other additional benefits of using thermocol? One is that thermocol, it has insulation properties. So what happens? It traps heat. It does not allow heat to travel from one place to other, right? So what happens in case of cold weathers? It will keep the indoors warm. In case of hot weathers, it will keep the indoors cool, and it will reduce our air conditioning and heating costs, right? Apart from that, because we'll be using thermocol instead of concrete and other materials, this will reduce our carbon footprints that are associated with the production of concrete. Moreover, since thermocol, it is a material which takes forever to get degraded, this will also help in reducing plastic pollution. Right? So these are the advantages of using thermocol in the buildings. There was also a mention of something called retrofitting. So what is retrofitting? It means addition of a feature or a component to something after it has been already made or constructed. That is fitting or adding some features to it after it has been constructed. After the building has been constructed, adding certain features to it to make it earthquake resilient in this case. So seismic retrofitting is done to protect the buildings from earthquake impacts. Now earlier we did not have technology for earthquake resistant buildings. So many of the buildings in earthquake prone zones were constructed without inclusion of these features. So we cannot raise down those buildings. Many people are living over there. So what we do? We do retrofitting, seismic retrofitting. So the thing that was discussed in this particular article was use of semi-confined, unreinforced brick masonry technology. So what happens here? Unreinforced brick masonry are the houses that are made up of bricks. And they are called unreinforced because they are made just of bricks and concrete, and they do not have the inclusion of reinforced concrete that includes steel rods. So what can be done to protect these buildings? Semi-confined activity, which includes insertion of reinforced concrete slabs in the buildings after they have been constructed. So if these slabs can be inserted into the buildings after they have been constructed, then that can also lead to making these buildings earthquake resilient. Okay. So these were the two technologies that were discussed in this particular article. So concrete sandwich is, we have reinforced concrete here, we have reinforced concrete here. So consider this as two pieces of bread, and between this we have inclusion of thermocol. So this thermocol is completely isolated from the external areas. So on all the sides we have reinforced concrete or some part of concrete around it. So the fire susceptibility is not increased. The fire susceptibility of the buildings does not increase by using this technology. So now we come to the practice question. Consider the following statements. Majority of the country's landmass lies in earthquake-prone zones. The Geological Survey of India has divided country into 4 earthquake zones. Retrofitting is a technique to add features to an already manufactured or constructed product. So you have to give the correct statements over here. So again, you will be getting 10 seconds for this. Start. Perfect. Most of you have chosen the correct statement. Yes, the correct answer is B, because not the Geological Survey of India, but Bureau of Indian Standard has released this zonation of India. Now it is very easy to confuse this statement. Why? Because Geological Survey of India ideally should be related to any kind of earthquake related activities in India. However, that is not the case. Willapil, no, this does not reduce the strength of the building, inclusion of thermocol. Why? Because thermocol is included as an addition. We are already using the concrete and the reinforced concrete. Thermocol is just an addition. So the strength of the building is not affected. In fact, it gets increased because the building is now more resilient when it comes to earthquake. Now we come to our last topic. I'll try to wrap it up very quickly because we don't have much time. It is related to Hockey World Cup. One sad news that India has been eliminated from the race to receive the Hockey World Cup this time. So what is the context related to it? India is hosting the 15th Men's Hockey World Cup. And this is the 4th time that India is doing so. Previously, we have done it in 1982, in 2010, 2018 and 2023. India is in fact the only country that has conducted this Hockey World Cup in 2 successive times. We also conducted 14th. We are also conducting the 15th Hockey World Cup. So this is being conducted in the state of Odisha in two locations, Bhubaneswar and Rourkela. So the reason why I have included Hockey World Cup, because these days UPSC has a tendency to ask sport related questions in the prelims exam. So it is better that you have knowledge of all these events. Okay, so a bit detail about Men's Hockey World Cup. It is organized by International Hockey Federation, IHF. It started in the year 1971, and up until now, the most successful team has been Pakistan, which has won this World Cup 4 times. However, in this edition, in the 15th World Cup, Pakistan could not qualify, so it is not amongst the 16 teams that are competing to get the World Cup. The number of teams in the 23 edition is 16. So some facts about hockey. So hockey is basically a family of games. What we see in India, it is known as field hockey. This family of games includes ice hockey, which is seen in colder areas which have ice cover. We have roller hockey, where the players, they have roller skates put on their feet and then they play hockey. And then we have field hockey that we see in India. So field hockey, in its current form, it was developed way back in 19th century in Britain. It has 10 plus 1 players. That is, we have 10 players plus 1 goalkeeper. And it is played for 60 minutes. Now, most of you must have heard the 70-minute speech of Shah Rukh Khan in Chak De, right? So now this has been reduced to 60 minutes. It's not 70 minutes or 70 minutes. It is 60 minutes. It is conducted in 4 quarters of 15 minutes each. Right? So earlier it used to be 70 minutes, but in 2014, experiments started with field hockey, and many countries or many organizations, they started organizing it only for 60 minutes. First time it was in 2018 Commonwealth Games, when both men's and the women's hockey, it was conducted for 60 minutes. And finally, in 2019, the International Hockey Federation declared that from now on, field hockey, it will be played for 60 minutes of 15 minutes each, 4 quarters. Now, one more thing about it, that there are 2 sides to the hockey stick. One side is completely flat, and the other side, it is curved. Okay, so it looks something like this. One side is curved, while other side is completely flat. So whenever the ball has to be touched by any player, it needs to be touched only with the flat face of the hockey stick. Otherwise, there will be penalty. So this is a very important rule. Moreover, apart from goalkeeper, no other member of the team can touch the hockey ball with any part of their body. They can only touch it with the hockey stick. Goalkeeper, he can touch it with his leg, with his hands, with the stick, everything, because they have to prevent the goal from taking place. So about hockey in India, against the call, in fact, cleared by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs, right? So hockey is not our national sport. When it comes to men's hockey, India was the first non-European team to become a part of International Hockey Federation. India has won 8 Olympic gold medals in hockey up until now. In fact, 1928 to 1956 was a golden era when it comes to Indian hockey, where we won continuously 6 Olympic golds. Our first World Cup win in hockey was in the second edition of Men's Hockey World Cup in 1973. Currently, our world ranking is 6th. When it comes to women's hockey, we are yet to win any Olympic gold medal or any Hockey World Cup, and our world ranking is 9th. So as of now, no sport has been declared as the national sport of India. Please remember that. Kabaddi, hockey, no. None of the sports, they are declared as national sports of India by the government of India. So now we come. Which of the following statements are not true? Focus, not true. Regarding the sport of field hockey. It is the national sport of India. It includes 11 players and is played for 90 minutes. The goalkeeper is allowed to touch the ball with his hands. India won the Men's Hockey World Cup only once in the year 1983. So you start now for 10 seconds. So most of you got the correct answer. That C is correct. This is actually a correct statement. The goalkeeper is allowed to touch the ball with any part of his body or the stick in order to prevent the goal. This is a wrong statement. No sport has been declared as a national sport of India. This is also wrong. It is played for 60 minutes. In fact, this is a description for something called football, which has 11 players and is played for 90 minutes. India has won the Men's Hockey World Cup only once. Up until here, the statement is correct, but not in 1983. It was in 1973. Okay. In 1983, we won our first Cricket World Cup. So the correct answer is C. So with that, we come to an end to this session of Weekly Current Affairs webinar. So if anyone has any major doubts, so many of you have a doubt that hockey is the national game of India, but in an RTI, which was filed with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Youth Affairs, they responded that no game has been declared as the national sport of India. So no game, neither kabaddi, nor hockey, nor cricket, no. None of the games, they have been declared as national sport of India. So, okay, with this we come to an end to this particular session. Please do not forget to attend the test series, the prelims test series, because your exam is only 4 months away. Moreover, the mains type of questions that were discussed over here, I really request all of you to write the answers to that question either before you sleep or the first thing you do tomorrow morning, because the information will be very fresh in your mind and you will be able to write the answer and it will stick to your minds in a better manner. So with that, we come to an end. Thank you very much and have a very good night.